Hello and welcome, my dear students and my viewers, to my channel Mathematics Made Easy. This is Ms. Ruchika welcoming you to today's session, especially for my grade 10 elite students who are going to be very soon giving the term 3 exam. So, on the special request of my subscriber SSVV, today I have this session for you, which is from lesson 8.2 Ellipses. So this is a part 1 of the video. I hope you all find it useful. And today I'm going to introduce to you the concept of ellipse. We'll look at its equation. So let's dive into the video. Our learning objective in this session would be to introduce ourselves and familiarize ourselves with the concept of an ellipse. As you can see, this shape, the kind of an oval shape that you see is the shape of an ellipse. We are going to look at different types of ellipses and solve some problems. So firstly, I'm going to define an ellipse for you, and I have a definition along with an animation here for you. So an ellipse is the set of all points such that the sum of the distances from the two foci is constant. And you can now have a look at this animation, just see how the points are moving. So you have different points here. F1, F2 represent the two foci. Now if it is 1, then it is focus. If it is more than 1, then it becomes foci. So there are two foci here, and you are taking the set of all points like P1 and P2, these 2 points, which are at the sum of the distances of the points from the focus F1 and F2 is same. So you can see how the animation is moving. So the distance 6 plus 14, it is going to be same. So the sum of the distances from the two foci is constant, which is 20 here. So when such a point, you take the set of all such points, then what you get is an ellipse. So it will take this shape as you can see in the animation now. So these all points are at the same distance, 6 plus 14, and if you keep the distance same and you keep changing the point, so I hope you can see how the points are moving. So recognize the shape that you are getting when the distances are equal. See here, 14.39 plus 5.61, still the total distance is constant, 20. So if you move your point along this this shape, then the set of all these points form an ellipse. So I hope the definition is clear to you and you can visualize it nicely from this animation. Coming to the next point, it is the equation of the ellipse. Now a simple ellipse which has center at origin, which is 0, 0 is of this form. So you can have a look at this table. It has the following formula sheet. Now for the lesson of conic sections, as you see for ellipse also, you have a lot of formula sheets, a lot of formulas that you need to learn in order to be able to solve the questions. So I would advise you, all my dear students, to practice a lot of questions, to try and solve a lot of questions, and so that these formula sheets are learned by you. So standard form is x square over a square plus y square over b square equal to 1. There are two types of ellipses that we'll be looking at. One is horizontal orientation, one is vertical orientation. So the one having horizontal orientation will have the major axis as the x-axis, which is the horizontal axis, and minor axis as y-axis, and it is going to interchange for vertical. Now, how is the difference? How will you identify? So if the x squared term has the bigger denominator, like you have two numbers, 64 and 25, both are perfect squares. So if you have something like this, x square over 64 plus y square over 25, then which one has bigger denominator? This one, 64. So if the bigger denominator is with x2 term, then the major axis is horizontal. It is this ellipse. And if it is opposite, otherwise, if y square is bigger denominator, then the major axis is vertical. So it's like a trick that works for you. And now you can see this ellipse, how it is looking. So this is the major axis, horizontal, minor axis, vertical, the two foci. So their coordinates, you will have to learn it. C, 0 minus C, 0. And so on. Then you have the vertices. Vertices are the points from which you draw the ellipses. Now some key points to remember: the foci and vertices are always found on the major axis. So even if it is a vertical or a horizontal ellipse, accordingly the points are going to move, but still they'll be in the major axis always. The next point, the distance from a focus to either co-vertex is a units, and then very, very important equation, the relationship between a, b, and c for an ellipse. This you can remember by remembering the Pythagoras theorem. So it's like sum of squares is equal to the third square. So yes, a square equal to b square plus c square, that's the relationship you need to learn, because you'll be solving questions based on this. Then the length of the major axis, it will always be having the length of 2a. So a will be given to you in the question, and that the sum of the distances from the foci to any point on the ellipse. That's your definition of a. Okay, so you can see here some important points. Make sure you note them in your notebook and learn them as a formula sheet to be used in solving questions. Now, the two types of ellipses already you have seen in the previous slide. So this one is the horizontal one. How do you identify? Here the major axis is horizontal, which is the x-axis. Perpendicular to it is the minor axis, y-axis. These are the 2 points of foci, so you can name them f1, f2. The two vertices may be v1, v2. So from the vertices, the ellipse is going to pass, and then major axis always 2a, minor axis 2b. They both meet at the center point. Okay, now this is vertical, so here the major axis will be y-axis, length is same 2a, again 2 focus, 2 vertices, and the minor axis being perpendicular is the x. So now this is a formula sheet that all of you need to learn. I'm not going to read it out that much because I hope now it is quite clear. This is given and taken from your math book. You need to learn it very, very well. Here, just remember, this is the basic standard form of the two forms of horizontal and vertical ellipses. Here, h comma k denotes center, foci, vertices. So generally in a question, these three will be what you'll be finding. Then co-vertices will be on the minor axis, major axis, minor axis, and the relationship. So these are the three things that these are the important formula sheets and the list of all important formulas. I've kept it on one slide for you so that you can learn. So a good technique here, just to speak to you and help you out, girls and boys, because I know that sometimes it can be very daunting to have a lot of formulas in a math lesson. So just print this out, put it in a chart paper, make it big, and or you want to write it in your own handwriting, put it in a chart paper and put it in near your study wherever you pass most of your day, so that whenever you look at it, you'll just go through it and eventually you learn it and it comes better and it becomes easier with practice. So solve some questions and do some practice right away. That wraps up a quick introduction on ellipses. I hope you found the video useful, especially my subscriber SSVV. Do let me know if this was helpful. Also, I will be teaching in the following videos to come tomorrow and day after. We'll be doing part 2 and 3 of ellipses, where you'll see how you can solve problems and what are the kind of questions you can expect in your exam. So do hit that subscribe button and press that bell icon so that you don't miss out on the notifications of all my upcoming videos. Until then, this is Mr. Chikas signing off from today's session. See you in my next video. Bye, students.